Hello, I'm Alex Heath of WK&T Sports, and welcome to our 2018-19 season preview of Region 1 basketball. We took some time to speak to the coaches here of Region 1 and get their thoughts on how their seasons went last year and their thoughts on the upcoming season and the challenges they will face. We are looking forward to the upcoming season. We hope you are too. Here with Coach Ember Wright of the Carlisle County Lady Comets. And Coach, you guys had a pretty solid season last year, 19-9, 15-4 in the region, and most importantly 8-1 in district play. Win the district for 8 years in a row, I believe is what we were talking about earlier.
That's right.
Talk about beating on who's on your schedule. You guys did that exact thing, so kind of give us your overall thoughts on how your season went last year.
I think we've built on the previous season after having winning 20 games. Each year, that's our goal, is to get to that 20 win mark. And of course, winning districts for the 8th year in a row. That's something that the girls just look forward to year in, year out, and wanting to get to cut down the net and just something to be proud of.
Off season comes around, you lose seniors, you bring in some younger kids, obviously, and try to build the roster up again. Is there anything different you did with this off season to try to change some things up, or was it still just the same program of just building and developing what you built on for the previous year?
Basically the same. We did some team camps where we played area schools. I did have a couple girls that came to me and said we want to do some individual stuff. They went to different breakout camp, the breakthrough camp. Okay. Several of them had good experiences and bragged on it, and hopefully that'll help step up their individual game. Sure. But as far as numbers, we're always, as a small school, you're always trying to get as many girls involved as possible, so we will be looking for the younger, maybe pulling up some middle schoolers to fill spots at times.
You lost 2 seniors off of last year's roster, of course the big one being Elena Coffey. How do you replace someone who has that significant production on both on your offensive and defensive end, the leadership role? There's so much that you lose with her not being here anymore. How do you try to fill in what you lose?
We will definitely miss her. She was our leading rebounder and scorer last year. I feel though that we have several others that have had the experience. Molly Henderson and Landry Crider, they have started the past 3-4 years, and I feel like they're going to bring experience to the team. Having lost 2 seniors last year, I feel like this year we can run 7 or 8 girls and in and out, and we will be able to not lose much. I feel like that they've had enough experience this past year. They're going to be young, but I feel like that they're going to be able to contribute and help. On
the offensive side of the basketball last year, when you guys had some struggles, really just was making shots more than anything. I thought you guys had pretty good shot selection. You honestly just didn't knock them down. So something you guys are really focused on the off season maybe was just trying to work on just knocking down a higher percentage of the good looks you got? Or?
We have had some open gyms, and the girls have wanted to shoot more. And I feel like that's something we're going to have to work into our practices and just set aside and say, hey, we've usually focused on defense, and our defensive, the points we usually hold a team to has been pretty good.
We're going to get to that.
Okay. Well, I feel like, and that's something we focus on. We focus on blocking out and trying to score in transition, so through defense. So this year, I think we're just going to have to work in more shots in practice.
I said, you mentioned I wanted to get to that next. Obviously, you guys absolutely excelled on the defensive side of the court. There's no question, allowing just 43 points a game in the very top tier of the region as far as that goes. And you held every in-state opponent under 50 points until the middle of January. I think it's pretty impressive. And it was Murray was the first team to put up more than 50 points against you, and no one held Murray under 50 points all year, no matter who they played. So I think that shows that your team knew what they were doing on the defensive end. They communicated well. They didn't give up a lot of easy buckets. Everything's contested and things like that. So how do you take what you had last year and either, honestly, just replicating that would be, I consider it a success.
Oh yeah, that's what we hope to do. We, like I said, we try to focus on defense the first 30 minutes of practice while we're fresh. I feel like we have some size. Henderson and Crider both being guards are 5'10" about, so their wingspan, I feel like it makes it harder on them to get passes into the post, and I feel like they just help put pressure, and that creates the other team turning the ball over, which less shots for them.
You said you guys have had your success in district, and I don't think there's anybody who thinks that's not feasible again this year. How do you avoid your team from being complacent, especially when you've got girls coming back with one the district every year we've been here, why don't we win it again? Instead of assuming that, how do you keep your girls focused in on the task of beat who you play every night, and then results will get there when they get there?
I think this group's just being around this winning tradition that we are trying to establish here. I feel like they want to win. I feel like being a small school, that the All-A and districts is something our team strives for every year, and I don't think that they just are satisfied with losing. And our district is very competitive, and I mean the rivalry there with Hickman County, and I think they get themselves pumped up for it.
Sure. Last thing we'll get you out here on is that you mentioned All-A, so we'll end on that. Not all the schools in the region play in the All-A tournament, but I think there's definitely some both pros and cons because it's in the middle of your season, but it kind of give you a postseason feel without being postseason. So how do you approach that as a coach, and how does your team approach the All-A tournament?
That's, like you said, it's midway. I mean, it's a good halfway mark to see where we're at, where we compare. I like it when we get the rankings to see, I mean, how have we done this year? Sometimes you agree and sometimes you don't agree with them. But I feel like as a small school, I mean, that's our big tournament. That's what our girls strive for. And we've been runner-up a couple of times. We've got beaten the semis. And, I mean, that'll be a goal, too, is to get back to the finals and hopefully compete for it.
Well, Coach, wish you the best of luck on your upcoming season. Lady Comets in, but right, guys.
Thank you.
When you're open to more, life opens up. Open a Your Start Checking Plus Savings Bundle from FNB Bank and open your eyes to what's possible. 2.5% APY on your first $15,000, free nationwide ATMs, a great mobile app, and more. Open new possibilities with the Your Start Bundle from FNB Bank. Get your start at FNB and start something today.
Hello, guys. Here with Coach Brian O'Neill of the Carlisle County Comets. Coach, thanks for coming on with us.
I appreciate you guys coming out today.
You guys are coming off a 13-16 season, 10-10 in the region, 4-4 in district play. So you guys had some ups and downs. You know, with the final record, obviously, you guys were in a lot of close games that you lost, a lot of close games that you won, back and forth. So what were some of your overall thoughts on how the season went last year?
We were hoping to kind of flip that record and win 16, 17 games. The one thing that we couldn't control, we had some injuries last year.
Sure.
Lost Reese Anderson early in the year. He missed 10 to 12 games. Right. We get him back, start playing well, then Trey Wilson goes down. But that's things that happen throughout the year. But
Sure.
what it allowed it to do was allow some other kids to step up. And I think we'll benefit from that this year. Right. Although last year was a struggle at times. Right. And, of course, the season ended in a big disappointment. We lost basically on the last second shot against Hickman County. So hopefully that'll give them a little drive towards this year to get back to the regional tournament.
Absolutely. 5 seniors on the roster last year, but 2 of them were key contributors, obviously, and Michael Thomason and Trevor Elder, who both were top 3 scorers, top 3 rebounders for you. So you do have a lot of guys that were able to step up because of injuries, but how do you replace what you don't have anymore in those 2 guys?
Yeah, well, Michael was a key scorer for us, you know, and very good shooter from three-point line, good free throw shooter, as we talked before we got on air. Sure. Trevor Elder stepped up last year and was one of our best defensive players that we had. Not a big scorer, but a solid scorer for us and rebounder. So those guys will be hard to replace early in the year, but we got a lot of kids coming back that played. I really expect to have up to an 8-man rotation and maybe even more if we have some guys step up.
Sure.
We got 2 seniors. Of course, Trey Wilson has been one of our big scorers the last 2 years.
We're going to get to him next.
Yeah, Alex Chandler is another senior that we expect to get more playing time. He played some down the stretch last year. And then we got a huge class of juniors. We got 10 juniors in our program. And we expect, 5 or 6 of them to see significant playing time. Of course, Reese Anderson and Davin McGee lead those 2, and they've been starting a lot since their freshman year. But Trace Hook stepped up last year through those injuries and give us another guard. Of course, we're very heavy on the guard side. But we also got Chase Teasley and Clint Draper that came off the bench last year as post players. And then I think, hopefully, in my eyes, I think the big surprise might be Blake Elder, a sophomore. Blake is now 6'5". He was a 6'3" freshman last year. Started some games in January and February. Would have been better off coming off the bench, but we needed his size. But he's maturing now. He can knock down the 3. So he's going to be kind of a matchup problem with some big guys.
I firmly believe you bring him back one of the most underrated players in the region in Trey Wilson. He was your leading scorer last year. He's undersized compared to a lot of other point guards in the region, but he plays with so much energy and so much effort. I think it's almost like he's 6 foot tall, 6'2", 3", playing the point guard position with the amount of athleticism and the strength he plays the game with.
Well, I think he hit the last part, his strength.
Yeah.
He's very strong for a kid his size. He can take contact when he gets in the paint. And that's why he shoots so many free throws.
Yes.
And as a sophomore, he shot around 85% from the free throw line. and got a lot of points there because he could get to the rim. Last year his free throw percentage dropped to around 80, which is a good problem to have, which he was disappointed. His scoring actually went down a little bit last year, but that's because the other kids were getting older, like McGee and Anderson was stepping up, so we were a little bit more balanced. I don't think his scoring will be as high as it was his sophomore year this year, but I think we're going to be a more balanced team. And I expect Trey to be, 14, 15 range. Assist total will go up, but he's had 2 good years, and you mentioned that he's only 61 points away from getting 1,000 points. So
he got no issues there.
No issues there. And if he hadn't got hurt last year and missed a few games, he would have got it last year. So he should get in that 13, 14, $1,500 point range by the time his senior year is over with.
Sure. You guys on the offensive side last year overall had a pretty good season. In the top half in scoring in the region, number 5 in field goal percentage, and you were 2nd in free throw percentage. So I kind of asked you jokingly, but I'll be serious about it this time. It was like, are you going to try to help some of the other coaches in the region teach their kids how to shoot free throws a little bit better, or?
Absolutely not.
Okay, that's fair. That's kind of figured.
But on the other side of that, we did shoot the ball well. We struggled early with the 3, but then towards the end of the season that went up. Free throw percentage the last 2 years has been really good. Field goal percentage was good, but where we lacked last year was on the defensive side.
Lead me to it.
We went to Christmas tournament at Campbellsville, and the first 2 nights we just got lit up. And had a parent kind of jokingly say, man, every team we play shoots well. I said, well, when we play defense like we are, they are going to shoot well. But we improved down the stretch, and this summer, and I know it's hard to judge summer, but teams usually don't play defense in the summer. Ours did, and I was really impressed with that. And that's one of the things that I've seen this week already, that our defense is going to be much better than it has been in the past 2 years.
Were there specific things you saw with the defense last year? Was it communication issues, really bad mismatched issues? Or?
We allowed way too much middle penetration and just broke down our defense. And when we go back and watch film, the guys would just break us down. Middle penetration, we'd help kick out 3. Guys were shooting 3s against us last year with no hands up. And of course, you can just look at percentages when kids can just catch and shoot with no interference. They're going to knock down shots. And so that was the big key. This summer, what I noticed is our defensive positioning was so much better. Kids were in help a lot more. They were willing to help each other, and just our positioning was much better.
Last thing, and we'll get you out of here on this, is you guys being a smaller school, you do play in the All-A tournament. So tell us a bit about the pros and cons about having that All-A tournament right there in the middle of January.
It's tough, and we've talked about it in the past. It's almost like the end of the season, but then you turn around and start back up. And it usually takes a few games to get back into the groove. It seems like we've been a little bit more successful getting our guys going because I've done it long enough to kind of to give them some days off. And actually, as I've gotten older, I'll give my guys more days off in January and February than I ever have, and I think it keeps them refreshed. And since I've been doing that, it seems like our All-A recovery has been a little bit better. And so the All-A is big, but our guys know it's not the end all, but it's still a little bit difficult to get those by, especially if you think you have a chance to win it. Now, if you go in the tournament and you know you're a low seed and it's, it may not be a big deal, but when you have a chance to win it or get to the semis or finals and you lose, it's a little bit tough. And of course, then we follow that with McCracken County the following week, so it's usually a tough game. But to prepare for that, we play everybody in the region. I always have. We played Tillman, Graves, Marshall, McCracken, Cal. We like to schedule them all, and I kind of got them spaced out where we can kind of test ourselves. We got Tillman the first week of the season, Marshall the second week. Then we throw McCracken in there in January, and then we play Graves right before the district tournament. So I like to play everybody, and my first few years it took me a while to get those guys on the schedule because previously they didn't play them. But if you want to try to win a regional tournament or win an All-A tournament, you need to get used to playing those teams. And the years that you can compete, it's good for you. Now that the last couple of years we've struggled a little bit playing against those guys. Hopefully that'll change this year.
All right, Coach, wish you the best of luck on the upcoming season. Brian O'Neill and the Carlisle County Commons.
Well, thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.
For the best service and parts support for your equipment, rely on H&R AgriPower, your premier Case IH dealer. H&R AgriPower has over 45 trained service technicians, and our mobile service trucks will come to your farm. Plus, H&R AgriPower's huge parts inventory and daily parts delivery between our locations means you get the parts you need fast. For service and parts support, turn to your local Case IH dealer. H&R AgriPower, the power to get you more.
Well, folks, Alex Heath here with Coach Wyatt Faust of the Lady Tigers of Murray High School. Coach, thanks for coming on with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, you guys had a challenging season last year. You guys lost a total of 3 games. You did also lost a total of 0 games in the region and, of course, in the district as you guys won another regional title last year. Thoughts as a whole, Coach?
You know, we lost our first game of the year, and
off to a rough start, really.
It did, yeah. We started like that, and you kind of worry, but they righted the ship pretty quick, and I say they because it was on the kids. They were phenomenal all year, and we went on a nice run after that first game, made it to the championship game of the Lexington tournament, which is always the best Christmas tournament in the state, and so it was a great challenge and a great run there, and didn't lose again until the last one. We'd have preferred to not lose a last one, but happens to everybody.
Most teams are going to do that.
But it was a great season, as far as the accolades were great, but the memories we had, the laughs, and those the relationships, that's the stuff that I'll carry from that season forever. And so it was a big success in that regard.
Well, I poke every coach and kind of get on the nerves a little bit with the next question, of course, but you guys did lose in the first round at state. A lot of people put you guys to make a deep run at state. What happened in that first round game?
To say you had a bad shooting night would be to be putting it very lightly. We were, I think we missed something like 26 threes. Most teams won't dream to shoot that many in a game, but that's kind of in our fabric. That's kind of who we are. We shot it really well as a team. We had one kid that shot it. Macy shot at 49%. Lex shot at about 44% on the year. And
most coaches like to have one player that shoots like that. You had two.
Yeah, and we had two. And so we shot a lot of them, and we had a bad night from the 3-point line. We ended up losing by 11 and missed 26 threes. Had we only missed 22, which would have been a bad night, then, maybe we'd go on. And, we hate it because the road was laid out ahead of us. If we could get past Mercer County, it would have been Owensboro Catholic and GRC, who we beat both those guys pretty handily 3 times during the year. And, then you're in the finals and anything can happen. Mercer goes and wins the state championship game by 44 points. Sets a record, and I think that speaks to who they are.
Right.
And, we might have been able to survive a bad night against someone else, but against a team that's got 5 scholarship players on the floor, a D1 kid coming off the bench, you just can't have a bad night like that and expect to march on.
Literally the one exception for your entire season was the one night you couldn't have it. You guys were an absolute force on the offensive side of the basket. Most girls' high school teams, especially in a smaller region population-wise like Western and Western Kentucky, you don't have a lot of girls' offenses that can average 65 points a game. You guys have done it now back-to-back seasons here at this program. How?
Well, first of all, you have to have the players. You could have the greatest anything in the world you want, but if you don't have the players, it just ain't happening. But I think 2 things. The players obviously, and our transition game was very structured. They got pretty good at it pretty quick, and we just had a lot of possessions, so there was an opportunity for a lot of points. We felt like we were the more talented team most nights, and when you are the more talented team, you want more possessions. Yeah. And through our defense, we created some havoc and provided those opportunities. Offensively, we were really up-tempo. And then the other thing is, I think we try to have something for everything. Whether it be we saw a box and chaser, we saw diamond, diamond or triangle and 2, and we even saw a tandem and 3 one time. We saw everything, and so, but we had something for everything, and I think the confidence our kids had going into a lot of games, and they've all got the bright green light, and to just go out there and shoot it and have fun, and so I think that was all a big piece of it. If we score 65 again this year a game, then we'll have a fun conversation again this time next year, but we'll see. Hopefully, we're going to try to score.
Absolutely. You guys graduated four seasons last year. Obviously, the big question is 3 of them are playing Division I basketball about 2 miles down the road. So you're going to have a big test on your hands. So you first year last year as the head coach here at Murray, you had such like you said, a wealth of talent, and most coaches would dream to have 1 or even 2 of those players, and you had 3 of them on a roster last year, and you did a good job of taking all that talent and to success. So you don't have that this year. So how do you build on that and prove that, hey, that last year is not just a fluke?
Well, I'm excited about our personnel again. I mean, obviously replacing those 3 is not necessarily realistic this season, but there were some really good players behind those guys that, people didn't get to see a lot of. We didn't have a ton of home games, so not a lot of people around here got to necessarily see some of our bench guys in big moments on big stages, but we have some young guys that can really play. And, as great as we were last year and as talented as we were, I don't know that this team's not going to be even smarter, a higher IQ team. This is the second year in the same system, and they've picked up things, and now we're able to, get into second layers of offense and some specials and some counters that we just started to briefly get to at the end of last year. So, we're excited about that. Now, we've got to be smarter. We're not as deep, so we're gonna have to be smarter about getting breaks, and we can't necessarily press as much, and so we're limited in some areas depth-wise for sure. And it is gonna, having good players makes you a good coach more often than it doesn't. Sure. But I've got faith in my kids. I have confidence in myself enough, but the work ethic of the players, the commitment of the players, and seeing what they've done to this point in practice gives me a lot of confidence to think that we're going to have a pretty good season.
Your district is never bad. It's easily one of the toughest districts on the girls' side over here. Charlie Saddle's an excellent player over at Callaway, and she's only going to get better as she continues to develop. And she was a sophomore last year, and one of the better players in the region as a sophomore. So you still have to deal with her. Marshall County's got a new coach. It's going to be an interesting dynamic to see how they perform. So, with maybe the rebuilding, retooling you got to do this year, how does that challenge kind of grow even more this year?
I think 3 of the top 4 or 5 teams are from our district for sure. And you throw McCracken in there and Graves in there for sure in that top tier mix. But I don't think there's a standout team or teams this year. But there's just going to be a bunch of teams. We got a bunch of teams that have a chance. And every year you go into it and really you just want to have a chance. You say, hey, let's. I hope I have got a team that can make a run, and I think we have that again. Callaway. I voted Callaway. Probably number 1 in the region because when there's so much parity, you look at who's got the best player, and the most proven player in the region is Charlie. And so, I think they did some great things last year, and I think they've earned the right for that preseason number 1 ranking that they got. But Graves is going to be really tough. They got some good old guards, and that you need that to win. I think in tight games and in the postseason, and they have that. So. Marshall County's got size, they've got length. Those young guys are starting to get some experience, and McCracken's got a great coach and a great, they're just kind of coming along. And so it's going to be, all the way through, it's going to be a fight. And, I think at the end of the day, who can execute their stuff. We know each other inside out, who can execute their stuff. Who has that good night when you need to have that good night. I think there's going to be a lot of factors that go into who cuts the nets down at the end of the day, but we are going to focus on just getting out of our district. That's, there's no guarantee you get out of this district. So that's, and I would say every team in this district would say the same thing. Sure. So that's going to be the main emphasis, today get better, tomorrow make sure we end up out of the district and giving ourselves a chance over there.
All right, Coach, wish you the best of luck on the upcoming season. Coach Wyatt Faust and Lady Tigers at Murray. Thanks,
Appreciate you guys.
Whatever it takes.
Creating comfort one home at a time. Call the folks at James Smith Heating and Cooling for all of your heating and cooling needs.
Well, folks, Alex Heath here with Coach Derek Curtis of the Murray Tigers. Coach, thanks for coming on with us.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me.
You guys are coming off a 14-18 season, 8-11 in region play, 2-4 in the district. So, give us some of your overall thoughts on last season.
Yeah, I thought last year we had a lot of injuries, which in the middle of the season was really tough on our win-loss record, and we ended up evening out and playing a little bit better once we got some guys healthy last year. And we ended up finishing the season pretty strong. Yeah. We ended up beating Callaway in the district and making it to the regional tournament. And we want to continue to do that as a program. And we ended up losing to McCracken in the last game last year, but they went on to win the regional championship. So, losing to the region champion, not so bad.
Not so bad, no. You're in your second season as a head coach, so after a full year under your belt, do you kind of see that changing the way you approach some things in the second season?
Oh, yeah. This year, at the end of the summer last year, me and the other coaches, we sat down and reevaluated the season and our team and as a staff what we were doing. And this year we came with a different mindset of that we wanted to be a little bit better offensively. Last year we wanted to be a really good defensive team. And so this year we've been focusing more on the offensive end. And so we hope to be better offensively and as well as continue to get better defensively as well.
Yeah. On the offensive side, you guys, efficiency-wise, weren't too bad. You guys shot the ball pretty well from the field. You trying to get a higher percentage of quality looks kind of thing this year? Or?
Yeah, we want to create more shots with our defense as well. But this year we're going to try to score from different areas of the floor as opposed to the areas that we scored from last year. We had some guys to really come in and work this summer on their games, and they've developed a lot, so they're going to help us create some more opportunities for our spacing and some things that we can do offensively this year.
Sure. On the defensive side, you guys gave up a lot of good looks last year. I don't know if it was maybe some rotations, communication issues on that end. But when you guys were able to score well, it seems like you played well on the defensive end too. You guys sometimes were almost a feast and famine. You guys just couldn't get everything right, or everything was flowing really well, and you guys shot the ball well and played good defense. Could you find any reasons to why it was all or nothing sometimes for the team last year?
Well, it's tough to find a good offensive balance and defensive balance. And like I said, last year we wanted our defense to really push us. So even in practice, we didn't do a whole lot of offensive things. And so this year we've been really focusing more on the offensive end so it can be more of a cohesive offensive unit, and so that our defense doesn't carry us so much this year.
With working on the offense, are there particular things you guys are trying to do? So you depth of scoring and variety of things. And is it a shot selection thing you're looking to improve as well? Are there other things?
We are returning Robert Kell Strickland this year, who's our post guy, and we want to play through him. And we have Hunter Utley and Will Lovins coming back from a shoulder injury this year, so we'll have some more guard depth that allow us to be able to create some more shots off the dribble. Last year we were more of a spot-up shooting team. This year we hope to create some shots and open up our offense a little bit.
You mentioned a couple of the names. 7 total seniors on the roster this year, just a couple last year. It's a huge jump. I think it's a huge benefit to coach to bring back so much experience. Does that help you to kind of focus more on some maybe fine detailed things, bringing back so much experience? Oh
yeah, because the guys been doing it for a year now, system things, and so it allows us this year to be able to do more things off of our offense. So this year is more fine tuning some things as opposed to installing things. Like last year, we just wanted to get things in, and we wasn't really focusing on we were really, but we can focus on more of the finer details of things this year.
Yeah. You mentioned Strickland. I would love to know how old the guy is, because the way he is built so strong. He is so big. He has football equipment on him, but he's not. He's just out here in his basketball uniform. Yeah. He is such a strong force on the inside of the paint.
Yeah, well, people are going to be surprised when they see him this year. He's slimmed down a little bit, so he's more mobile, but he's still added some strength to his game this summer. So he's going to be huge for us this year. Him and Will Lovins are the two only remaining guys that were freshmen on our 2016 regional championship team. So we're going to depend on those guys a lot this year as far as leadership on the team to help us, get through the season.
You guys have a tough schedule, we'll say, to start off the year. You've got at University Heights, you play Louisville Male on a neutral site game, and you get to play Graves and Marshall County within the first 3 weeks of the year. So there's no we'll kind of ease into the start of the season. No, it's full force right at the start of the year.
Yeah. Last year, I felt like in big games we weren't quite there where we needed to be. So this season we're going to play some bigger games at the beginning of the season, try to prepare us for the middle and the end of the season, and those are really good teams. They're probably going to be University Heights probably going to be the preseason favorite in the region. They won it last year. They got Kiki Tandy, who just committed to Xavier on yesterday, exactly. And Male will be a powerhouse in their region, and of course Marshall will be good. Graves going to be good. So we're going to go out and try to play those competitive non-conference games. Well, Marshall's a district game for us at the beginning of the season to give us some looks at what we need to work on.
We'll get you out of here on this one, Coach. Is there any particular, maybe one aspect you want to see this team as a whole get better at? Maybe something more obscure? Is it more hustle, more big plays, more transition? Anything, any big area you want your team to focus on this offseason?
For us, it'll be communication. Okay. Talking on offense, knowing where we're supposed to be on defense. Those are the things that we've been focusing on. So a coach once told me a quiet team is not a very good team. So we like our guys to be very talkative and communicating, so that way everybody knows where everybody's supposed to be, and I think that'll help us out in the long run.
Do you see maybe one player looking to step up into that role to help kind of lead somebody, or is it more of a group effort? Everybody's got to make sure everybody's on the right page.
Yeah, well, we think it could be one or two people on our team. We have some captains. We'll choose some captains at some point in time, but it's a group effort. Everybody has to buy into it and want to communicate to help us out with that one.
All right, Coach Curtis and the Murray Tigers, wish you the best of luck on the upcoming season, sir.
Thank you.
Your voice lets him know he's safe. Shelter Insurance does the same for you. Roadside assistance provided by Road America is now included with your auto policy. We'll take care of you while you take care of what's most important. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask Steve Jones about Shelter's roadside assistance.
Hello, folks. We're here with Coach Terry Birdsong of the Marshall County Marshals. And that's hard to say sometimes, you know that, Coach Marshall. It gets a little redundant. You mix with your words a little bit. But, Coach, we thank you for coming on with us, be part of the show this year. Another big season coming up in Region 1 basketball.
Sure is. You know, we have a big senior class, a lot of talented players, a lot of depth. The top teams from last year, most all of them will return a lot of players and some of their better players. So it's going to be an interesting year.
Yep. Look back at your season last year, 29-12, 8-7 in the region, 5-0 in district play. But of your 12 losses, 10 of them were by 8 points or less. You had 2 losses in overtime. A lot of those games came down to those last couple of plays that your season could have been either worse or probably a lot better if you just made a couple plays turned around.
Yeah, we played a good schedule last year, and you know we had that issue where we had a lot of seniors and we dropped down to sophomores. We had no junior class basically that played any, and so that makes for an interesting year. And we were good all year. Alex defensively, just we had trouble scoring at times, and so we're hoping that is better for us this year. We're older, a year experience. Even though we have no seniors this year, we still have a lot of talented young guys.
Yeah. Last year, we talked about it before we come on, the growth of some of your young guys, especially when the regional tournament came around. You guys showed so much growth and development as the year went because you had like all that young guys getting some experience. With a player like Jay Nemo, who's like, I didn't even see this kid play much the first half of the year. He looked so composed in the regional tournament. And not just him, other younger guys look so composed under that high pressure of the regional tournament.
Right. Jay is one of our, like we said, one of our young, talented young guys. Jay's a sophomore this year. Of course, like you said, he came in last year as a freshman, and we had a couple tough losses on the road, and we decided to make some changes with what we were doing, and Jay was proving it in practice every day. And you throw him in there with Tyler Powell and Austin Riley and Bryce Flatt and Tyler Stokes, all those guys are juniors. It makes a good group, and we got them for multiple years.
That's right.
Not just this year.
That's right. You guys absolutely excelled on the defensive side of the ball last year. Just over 50 points per game. You guys allowed one of the best defenses in the region. How do you keep that success going this year and maybe even improve on it with this upcoming season?
Well, defensively, you know, we've always, as long as I've been a head coach, we've always kind of hung our hat on the defensive end. And defense is interesting. You know, you can be a good defensive team because you never shoot, or you can be a good defensive team because you're good defensively. And when we looked at each game last year, you look at shot attempts and turnovers, you know, we were right there with our opponent. Even though some games we scored less, we actually shot more and took more field goal attempts. But turnovers were a big problem for us last year. We had a lot of live ball turnovers that caused us to give up a lot of points on the defensive end. And I'd say probably 20% of our points that we gave up were off live ball turnovers, maybe more than that. So we know we can guard, but this year, you know, being a year older, a year stronger, we feel like offensively we'll be better too.
Sure, and some of those younger players getting that extra experience will probably bring down some of those live ball turnovers because they're more used to the offense, more used to playing together. Probably help with some of that as well.
Well, they're bigger and stronger and more physical, and they played. You know, we played a really tough summer schedule, and so these guys, even though they're still underclassmen, have a lot of experience. You know, we played those four juniors last year as sophomores. I think Stokes and Powell and Riley started probably the last 14 games of the season together, and then of course Jay coming off the bench, and then Bryce Flatt played in all 31 games, started several. So we got a good nucleus of guys that are not only experienced, but they're very skilled too.
I looked at how this region has changed the last couple of years. Graves had back-to-back years of having just one really tall guy. A lot of schools not having that, but they don't have that this year. I feel like a lot of schools, including yours, got a lot of these 6'2" to 6'4", really long, real athletic guys that make the offenses so fluid. A lot of things they can do, make it more versatile. You see that being a benefit for you guys as well?
I think so. You know, Tyler Stokes has grown a little bit. We measured him here the other day. He's a legitimate 6'6" now, and
that's getting up there in that top half of the line.
Good athlete and runs the floor well. And then I'll tell you, Dawson Smothers is a kid that didn't play last year. That's also going to be, that is a junior now, that 6'2", 215, 20 pounds. We feel like it's going to give us a lot of strength and size inside. Watched him a lot through middle school competing against him. Good hands, runs the floor well, very athletic to be that size guy. So he's going to bring a lot to the table for us too. So we feel like, you know, we have 7 or 8 guys. Matthew Wooten's another kid that'll be a junior that we hope can get in there and help us this year too. So we feel like we'll have 7 or 8 guys night in, night out that can give us production.
Yeah. So you guys had a little rough start to the season, but you guys played so well down the stretch. You really feel like that was just the youth getting more developed, or some other things you guys changed besides just going with the younger guys?
Yeah, I think some of it was experience, and again, our younger guys are really skilled, and you know, our schedule last year was really unusual with the incident that happened at our school. We went 19 days in January and early February and played 2 games.
Right.
And then we played 7 or 6 games in 8 days to end our season.
Right.
So we actually played on 6 nights out of 8 nights.
Yeah.
And you know, you had Mayfield sandwiched in there, you had Graves sandwiched in there, so I mean it was feast or famine on that.
Sure.
We went a long time without games, and it was like every night. So it kind of gave us a roller coaster ride a little bit, and sometimes that can cause some inconsistencies because you're kind of off the hip all the time. You're not in practice correcting things because you're playing so many games.
Right.
So we hope this year we have a very demanding, a very tough schedule, but we hope this year we have a little bit more consistency in, you know, playing a couple nights a week instead of four times a week. So I think that'll help.
Also, I mean, we look at how the regional tournament, you know, kind of bailed out last year. You knew that two schools were kind of get the shaft when the tournament drew, because there was really like 5 teams that really had a chance to win the tournament. Well, you and Tillman got the shaft, having to play each other in that first round game when, you know, where Graves, Mayfield, McCracken all had teams that, you know, they usually have a good dominance over. You guys had to play that extra really hard game, that opening round. Do you feel like that kind of drained some of the energy out of your team, or the other teams were able to be more fresh maybe for that going on? Or
well, that's a good point, but you know, based on everything we went through last year, we weren't surprised that we drew Tillman. And you know, I've been doing this a long time, and I've had all different ways to draw in the regional tournament. First of all, you're just happy to be there, first of all. Second of all, you like to think about, okay, well, this would be the perfect scenario, but it doesn't always work out that way. I've had some years where we got what I thought were really good draws, and I've had some years where we got really tough draws.
Like last year.
Some years we've had success with either, and some years we haven't. So I think, you know, when you get down to that final week and a half of the season, you know, your best teams are going to typically win. So there are upsets, and you know, we had played Tillman a month earlier prior to the regional tournament, and they thumped us, and then we came back and made some changes and won by 7 or 8 in the regional tournament, moved on. And then Graves, you know, we played them tough all 3 times last year. We gave up that big lead over here at our place, and you know, that was in that. Of course, Graves earned it, but that was in that 6 or 7 game stretch there, and we just it was just hard to stay focused all the time. And then we lost a tough one over there in overtime. I think McCracken beat us by maybe 6 and 4. So I mean, we were right there in every game. Mayfield, I think, beat us 7. So I mean, like I said, we had shots in all those games, but just didn't work out. So hopefully this year we have a little more experience, some more depth. And our guys are a year older, so hopefully, you know, we can kind of turn the tide on that.
Last one, and we'll get you out here on this one, Coach. The last year with the growth you guys had, you mentioned the fact you don't have any seniors. There's still a lot of youth on here. I think that may make your team probably the most unpredictable in the region, because you guys still have so much chance to grow and get even better because there's so much youth on your roster.
Well, and we'll have some growing pains, you know, because even though we have a lot of guys back, some of them are playing some new roles and some different roles in terms of leadership and what we expect from them on the court. So that's going to be a little bit of a change, but I really believe in these guys. I think that our skill set in our 9th, 10th, and 11th grades are real good, and we should be able to put all that together. And I feel like it's going to be a good season for us, but our region's going to be very tough. And you know, we have great coaches in this region that we got to go against every night, and they make it interesting. And then, of course, you look at our schedule outside of the region is very tough too. We're going to a couple national events, and so all in all, you know, it comes down to I've had some teams, Alex, that have, you know, had sparkling records and just didn't get what we wanted to get. And I've had some teams that had average records and win the region. So I mean, it's all a journey, and you have to embrace the journey. And you're going to have some ups and downs, but you hope by March that your team's peaking and playing on hitting all cylinders. And so we'll see how that turns out.
All right, Coach. Wish you the best luck on upcoming season. It's always a good one here in Region 1 basketball.
I appreciate it.
Coach Terry Birdsong and the Marshall County Marshals.
Your family's safety is priceless. In an emergency, you need help at the push of a button. Secure Connect from WK&T provides this and more. Monitoring is less than $1 a day, and consultations are free. We love helping our friends and neighbors protect what matters most. That's the WK&T way.
Well, folks, Alex Heath here with Aaron Beth, the coach of the Lady Eagles at Grace County High School. Coach, thanks for coming on with us.
No problem.
Last year, guys, 27-7 on the season, 15-2 in the region, 5-0 in district play, and once again, you defend the nest well. Not a single loss here at the house.
Yeah, it was a really good year as far as our 7 losses were to 7 really good teams. So we played a tough schedule, especially over Christmas, and then the only 2 times we got beat after we came back from Christmas was Murray beat us twice. So, you know, the teams we got beat by were really good teams. Our kids had another great year. You know, to win 27 games is not easy to do, especially with the schedule we had. And came up a little short there in the finals, but made huge improvements as the year went on. And, you know, I was really proud of last year.
Well, you touch on that's kind of the one sore spot we got to cover, that regional championship game. And, you know, the first time you guys played Murray, everything literally just did not go right. It's just, there's no way that you guys could not make a shot. It's just one of those nights that, unfortunately, that happens to everybody, even a high-quality team like you guys were last year. The second time, it was the game everybody wanted to see. It was a tight, hard-fought game. Both teams really struggled to score compared to their usual things.
You know, I think that was, you know, due to the defense. And we knew going in we needed to make 7 or 8 threes, and I felt like our defense was going to be good enough that if we did that, we'd win the basketball game. I think we ended up making 3 again. Yeah. So the last, you know, couple times we played Murray in the regional tournament, the shots just haven't gone in. Yeah. And you know, unfortunately, that's part of the game. We've got to, you know, be able to establish a different type of scoring when our threes aren't going in. You know, we've kind of lived and died by those ever since I've been here. But when they're going in, things are really good. But we've got to be able to get to the basket more, get to the free throw line, establish some sort of inside game. But, you know, Murray was awfully good last year. You know, they got 3 D1 players, and it was one of those things where we had a chance, and we, like I said, made huge improvement from when we played them in January to when we played them in the postseason. So I feel like this year things will be a lot more balanced in the region, so I feel good about our chances.
Sure. You did talk about what you guys lost. It was a whole lot.
It was.
Yeah, I mean, you had an excellent shooter in Cartwright. You don't have Lindy Qualls was one of the best rebounders for size that you in the region, to be honest. And of course, Danielle Wagner could absolutely score with one of the best scoring girls I've seen at this high school in a long time. It's a lot to replace on your shoulders, Coach.
I mean, because I've had them, you know, since they were freshmen. We lost 4 seniors, and then Zippy Johnson is no longer in school. They moved, and I'm not sure what she's doing, but she won't be with us this year. So we lose 4 out of 5 starters, 2 3-time all-purchase players, probably 35, 40 points a game, a lot of rebounding a game. So it's going to be a lot of new stuff. There's a lot of potential out there for different kids to step up and take those minutes, and we've got to have people score. Defensively, I feel like we're going to be as good or better than we've been. We had a really good summer. We're going to be a lot more athletic at every single position, and it's going to take some time to mold this team to be the cohesive unit that we need to be.
Sure. We do get to bring back a couple of very experienced guards, Taylor Carrico and, of course, Rachel Matthews, your starting point guard. That's got to help, especially with helping run your offense, your defense, having a couple of leader guards out there.
Yeah, that'll be huge. And I really think Taylor's going to blossom this year. It was tough coming in last year with those seniors who had that established scoring. I mean, you know, Danielle averaging 20 and Lindy had averaged 13, 14 the year before and averaged 8 or 9, 10 last year. So those shots somebody else is going to have to take. And I really think Taylor has worked unbelievably hard in the offseason, has really improved her strength, her agility, her conditioning, her overall attitude is just what a coach wants. I mean, she's setting the tone and setting the example for everybody else, and I'm really looking for big things from her. We've expected big things from Rachel ever since she was an 8th grader. You know, I brought her in, first sub off the bench, and pretty much played her the whole game from her 8th grade year on, and then started the last 2 years. Already has the career assist record. You know, she did that about 6 games into her sophomore season. So she's a playmaker. She's going to have to score more this year. You know,
that question. I was going to get you to that.
That's what she's going to have to take on, more of a scoring role, which she shoots the ball well. So we've got Bailey Wilson and Carson Travis have really worked hard also. I think they'll come in and provide some offense and a lot of energy and defense. Chloe Dawson can shoot the basketball. Callie Jackson's really come along. She's grown some, gotten stronger, shoots it well. And then Sophie Galloway, you know, all-world track athlete. She's a coachable athlete, so when you have a coachable athlete, you can do things, and she's really, really improved her game as well. So there's some other younger kids that are going to come in that I think will help us out, but you know, those 6 or 7 names that I mentioned, I feel like will be the core.
Yeah, with Rachel, usually a lot of, especially the way basketball has gone nowadays, these point guards are no longer true point guards. They want to score where they want to score. Rachel maybe like one of the last true pass first point guards. Everybody's like, shoot the ball. It's like, and she always wants to get her teammates involved so much.
She does. She understands the game as well as any player I've ever coached. And where a lot of people don't understand how valuable Rachel is to us is on the defensive end. You know, we beat Callaway last year in the regional tournament by I think 20 or 21 because Rachel did a great job on settle.
Yeah.
You know, we've got some special things we do against them, but her defensive presence, we can put her anywhere. We can let her guard a post. We can let her guard the point guard. We'll mix things up, but I really think defensively our athleticism is going to really shine this year. I want to play up and down. I've tried to get them to go up and down, shoot threes, use our defense to be our offense. And this summer we had some runs where we'd make 4 or 5 straight threes, straight possessions. And, you know, summertime doesn't mean that much to me because it's summertime and we're not where we need to be, but at the same time I saw some really good things.
Sure. And look at last year's season. You had a weird thing of all 7 of your losses they weren't home games, and they also weren't really road games. They were all neutral site games. But I see a lot of coaches scheduling more and more neutral site games. Is it really like a postseason prep kind of atmosphere? Or?
Well, we do that, and part of it we just can't find people to play. Sure. I mean, you know, we're opening up in Hoop Fest this year over at Marshall on that Thursday the 29th, and then Saturday, I guess that's probably December 1st or 2nd. I know it's the Saturday after our first game. We play in a shootout at Owensboro Catholic. Last year we played Bullitt East. This year we're playing a Logan County team who I think won 22 games and competed in the 4th region with teams like Bowling Green and South Warren. They've got everybody back. So it'll be a tough game there. We come back the next week and play Callaway and Murray back-to-back, Friday, Saturday.
Have fun with that.
That'll be, then we go to Webster, who's the defending Region 2 champs, and have everybody back but one. It's not going to be an easy schedule at all. It's going to be challenging, but I think that's how we get better. I really feel like last year in Florida, playing the competition we played down there with pretty much prep schools. There were 2 divisions and we were in the upper division. It was tough going 0-3, but at the same time I feel like that really helped us improve our toughness and understand that we can play with those types of teams, but we have to play every possession.
Well, you lost those 3 games in Florida by a combined 20 points. As well, you were getting blown out by these prep schools. You guys, 2 of the games you lost by I think 5 points each.
And we had a chance to win those games, and we showed we could come back and be resilient. I mean, they all had 1 or 2 or 3 D1 players on those teams, and it was just a different. Well, it was like playing a state tournament game or an LIT game, and the experience was good. I don't ever like to lose. Nobody does, but the competition and the learning to compete at that level helped us out. I mean, we won 16 in a row when we came back. Lost to Murray, 16 in a row, lost to Murray. So, once again, a very good basketball team that we got beat by.
Absolutely. Coach, we wish you the best of luck on your upcoming season. Coach Aaron Beth and the Lady Eagles of Graves County.
I appreciate it.
Got a big appetite? Head over to Snappy Tomato Pizza on Paris Road in Mayfield. Snappy Tomatoes all-you-can-eat buffet features a fresh salad bar, as well as pizza, pasta, breadsticks, cheese sticks, and dessert. On game day, don't forget the Beast. The Beast is the equivalent of 3 large pizzas. Perfect for your tailgating party with 24 large slices. Dine in, pick up, or delivery available.
Snap, snap, Snappy Tomato Pizza.
Hello, folks. Here with Coach Josh Frick of the Graves County Eagles. Thanks for coming on with us, Coach.
Thank you for having us.
Well, last year you guys went 26-9, 17-5 in the region, 4-2 in district play, only 1 home loss all year long. I think that's something every coach loves to be able to do, defend their home court. So give us some of your overall thoughts on how last season went.
I thought we had a good year. It seems like every year you have your ups and your downs, and but our goal always is to be playing our best basketball come March, and I think we did that. We had a pretty good winning streak there to end the season. Able to find a way, even battle through some injuries there, winning the Superman Classic shorthanded, and finding a way to win the district championship shorthanded, and making a run in the regional tournament. We did a lot of good things. We had a lot of guys really grow as players. We lost 2 really good guys for us and their leadership, but we're excited about this season. But at the same time, we're very pleased with how last year turned out.
Sure. I will poke you a little bit, I guess, on the one sore spot from last season is what really happened in that district the regional championship game. You guys had looked so well through most of that game, especially on the defensive side, came out and really made McCracken look uncomfortable. And then the end of that 3rd quarter hit early in that 4th quarter, it almost looked like the wheels fell off for you guys. But best you can tell us what happened that game.
I think we went in with a good game plan. We were going to try and make some other guys beat us, and and we were able to execute that for pretty much 3 quarters. We did lose some guys from time to time, but we made a run there to end the 3rd quarter and got up 9 and felt like things were, going in a positive direction for us. And then we just went ice cold. Going back and watching that film and breaking it down, and we missed 17 shots inside the paint that night. And you can draw up a lot of great things, but if you don't put it in the hole, that's basketball. And sometimes you go through that, and that's basically what it came down to. I thought we defended well. I think we held them to 42 points, which is well below their season average. We just didn't put the ball in the hole, especially in the 4th quarter.
Ultimately, still a solid season, nonetheless.
It was.
But the 2 seniors you did lose last year, senior leadership, Trevor Grant, do a little bit of everything for you. Played above his size and strength and athleticism. Shot the ball extremely well from the perimeter. I think people weren't expecting that from him as much as well as he shot it. Of course, the big thing, I think, difference-wise you lose is you had Chris Vogt, 7-footer, and his especially presence on the defensive end. You have Brandon Young to replace him at 6'7". You don't have that 6'7" plus presence in the post this year, especially on the defensive end. How does that change, maybe adjust the way you handle things from a schematic things?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the beauty of high school sports. You're constantly having to adapt and make adjustments based on your roster. And, we've been fortunate. This is my 5th year, and the previous 4 years we've had a lot of size. And this is the first year where we haven't. We'll start a lineup most likely where everybody's 6'3" or shorter. We've got a couple juniors that are about 6'6" that we'll bring off the bench, and hopefully they can give us some big minutes. But it does change the way that we want to play a little bit. We are smaller, but I also feel like we're quicker in some areas. So we may try and force tempo. We may try and play faster at times. And, of course, against some opponents, you don't want to do that as well. So. But I think the biggest things that we got to make some adjustments on is on the defensive end. We've always had that rim protector. We've been able to play without as much help, especially off dribble penetration. Now we got to do some different things. How are we going to guard good post players? Those are all things that we've got to figure out over the course of the next few weeks.
Yeah. Well, the preseason is for. You're ready for it, right?
That's right.
Well, if you look at your schedule this year, even more so than last year, it is absolutely full, especially in that pre-2019 break at Christmas. You guys have got 2 shootouts, 2 full tournaments, including your own holiday tournament that you're hosting. So tell us about that process. A lot of coaches, I really don't know that process. I think a lot of our viewers may be interested to know about that process. Do you really seek those out? People contact you about them, or is it kind of a 2-way street?
It kind of goes both ways. Scheduling, I mean, it's a chore. And it seems like this year more than ever, and I don't know the reasoning for this, but we've had a difficulty scheduling games based on maybe we got a bunch of guys back. I don't know what that may be, but there are times where we have to go out and search for things, like especially around the Christmas holidays. But most of the time we do get invites. That is the kind of the prestigious thing about Graves County basketball is we travel so well with our fans that people want us to come play in their events. So, we got Marshall County Hoop Fest early. We're going down and playing in the Memphis vs. the World Classic down in Memphis. We're hosting our own Christmas tournament before. We're going to Bowling Green, and Bowling Green tells us it's the best field they've ever had. So we're going to be tested early, and that's what we want in December. Like I said, our goal is to be playing our best basketball in March. But we got to test these guys early. Right.
Well, the Christmas tournament last year, we covered that. It was a fantastic, saw some really good games. Saw some teams from Illinois come down, some teams from closer to the Bowling Green area, Ohio County came. They're coming back again this year. So talk about that process of trying to help plan that. And it's one thing to kind of schedule and be involved in somebody else's tournament, but when you're hosting your own, there's a lot more work you got to do to get ready for it.
It is. Thankfully, we've had some really good sponsors over the year that's helped us, but we've already started planning now for the 2019 tournament. I mean, that's just the way that it works because schedules fill up fast. You want to make sure you can get the best teams possible down here because we want to play the best, but also you want to attract fans to come and watch the event as well. So this year's event, we've got teams from Memphis that are coming up and playing. Dyer County, Tennessee's coming up, but we also got some local flavor with Callaway and Carlisle. They'll be in it again this year. So, like I said, it takes a lot of people to put on a first-class event like we do, and it starts early.
Sure. Well, if you look at your roster, I think last year most people don't realize how young you guys were. Not maybe young, but just younger than people thought because you only had 2 seniors. This year you've got 6. So you bring back a lot of experience, a lot of guys who've got significant playing time, either starters or coming off the bench early. So I know that's a huge advantage. Have you seen maybe even some things you weren't expecting, how maybe easy it's been, or some things you're able to work on maybe more in detail because you're bringing back so much experience?
Well, I mean, it's always a plus when you got experience coming back. Sure. It definitely makes it easier on us as a coaching staff to plan and prepare, especially when you look at our schedule and how tough it is. So there's been some adjustments. I got 6 great seniors coming back. You know, their leadership has been fantastic so far. I think that will continue. Those guys have played in a lot of big games.
Yeah.
And you look at guys like Ryan Mathis, who was playing as an 8th grader.
Right.
Jordan Naranjo as an 8th grader and also as a freshman. So they've been battle tested for a number of years. And the thing about a coach is you got to be able to trust the guys that you put on the floor. And I got 6 seniors that I trust. And just looking at the roster, I probably got 7 guys that deserve to start. And so that creates a lot of competition within practice. And but it also makes us a little more balanced. And makes practices very competitive.
Right, you kind of led me into the right direction I wanted to go to. That's got to be like not just great on the coach team. It's got to be fun to watch also as a coach. See these guys like, okay, I've got 2 starting positions open for sure, and you may have a full open competition for who gets all 5 starting points. That's your philosophy as a coach as far as that goes. Right. But it's got to be awesome to see all these guys just battle with both guys that have coming back, so maybe some younger blood that's showing some big development in the off season. It's got to be good to watch as a coach.
It is. It's a lot of fun, and like I said, this is probably my most fun part of the year because you're trying to get these guys ready and you try to put them through some adversity to see which guys can come up, you know, through that. It's a process, and we've sat down with all these guys and individually and talked to them how we foresee we foresee this season playing out for them. And we may start different lineups every game in the month of December just to figure out who our best lineup is. And some guys aren't made to start. Yeah. You know, their game is, you know, they excel coming off the bench and giving us energy and doing some different things. So that's all the things that we've got to figure out as a coaching staff. That's what December's for as well. So we're looking forward to getting things started, and you don't want to look too forward because the season will fly by before you know it. But it's exciting for a coach for sure.
Sure. But some of these younger guys, like I said, that were sophomores and juniors that maybe they come off the bench last year, have you seen any guys that's particular maybe done some serious growth in the offseason? There's also guys like Aaron Jones come off the bench early in the year who got some starts later, especially when Mathis dealing with some injuries and with things, and he was an absolute nuisance on the defensive end. See other guys step up like that already in the offseason?
You know, last year I thought Jacob Savage made a huge push, and I think he will continue to do that for us. Aaron has always been solid. He started games as a sophomore and as a junior. You know, he'll do the same this year for us. Just the leadership, his competitiveness is huge for us.
Probably like the biggest heart of a smaller player on the court in the region, maybe.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you got to have that. Sure. And but probably 2 guys that have made the biggest jump this summer and this offseason has been Tay Shannon and Seth Thomas. They have really put in the work. Their bodies have changed. They have they spent a ton of time in the gym getting up shots, working on their game, and as we've started so far, they've been the 2 best players on the floor. So hard work pays off.
Absolutely.
You know, I heard somebody say that hard work is undefeated, and it's true when you think about it. So those 2 guys have really stepped up for us. Alex Jackson came on strong, especially in the district championship game for us. Got hurt right before the regional tournament, and his minutes were limited, but he's bounced back and has had a good offseason for us. We played a really tough schedule this summer and went 16-3. Ryan didn't play for us, and so we've had a lot of success. We hope that continues for us.
All right, Coach, wish you the best of luck on upcoming seasons. It's going to be another good one here in Region 1. We appreciate you coming on with us.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it.
Coach Frick with the Graves County Eagles.
In life, it's the little things that add up to make a big difference. When it comes to your finances, keeping track of the little things makes all the difference. Now there's a way you can see it all and get a full financial picture in one place. Automatically track and categorize spending from all your accounts. Set up budgets and alerts, manage debt, and more. Feel better about your finances and see how the little things can make a big difference.
All right, folks, Alex Heath here with Bradley Naney, the head coach of the Lady Cardinals here at Mayfield High School. Coach, thanks for coming on with us.
Absolutely, thanks for coming.
You guys had a challenging season last year, 11-13, 11-10 in the region, 0-6 in district play. Faced your fair share of challenges, a lot of teams do. Give us some of your thoughts overall on the season last year.
We just never could get any positive momentum going and sustain it. You know, we had some pretty good runs at times, but it seems like if something bad could happen, it happened to us last year. Sure. we had injuries, we had just issues that always seemed to pop up about the time we got some momentum. Then I got sick at the end of the year. It just seemed like if it could have gone wrong last year, it did. And we're just going to mark that up as just one of those times you just kind of have to deal with the adversity you're dealt and keep going and build off of it and learn from it and come back this year, and hopefully maybe we'll get the other end this year and get some positive things going our way.
When you start having some of those bad breaks, whether it's injuries or if you have a couple of really cold shooting nights in a row, which can happen to anybody, how do you kind of try to keep that from snowballing as best you can? I mean, sometimes you can't with injuries and things like that, but how do you try to keep your team up and don't let them get too down?
Just try to stay positive and emphasize, it's a process. Those things are going to happen, and they're going to happen in life outside of basketball. You just got to learn that, every day is a new day and dig a little deeper and keep going and keep fighting, and eventually those things will turn and come back your way. And although last year they didn't from a long-term point, I did feel like that we were always there. We were always competing. We were always battling. Even when things weren't going our way, we didn't give up. We didn't let down. So we're real proud of that. We feel like we got a lot of things to build on because of that. So we're excited that this year, we're going to learn from those things that happened to us last year and use those as fuel to push us forward this year and even work harder to make sure some of that luck is good luck this year.
Sure. 3 seniors on the roster last year. Obviously, the biggest absence is going to be the lack of Emily Holmes this year. She was an all-region caliber player. How do you replace what you lost with your seniors, especially with Emily Holmes?
We've got gaps to fill, obviously, some holes to fill, and it's not going to be easy. Emily was the all-time leading three-point shooter in the history of our program, which that's a big deal, obviously. So we've got about 18 to 20 points that we've got to compensate for somehow, and it's going to be tough. Victoria Barrett was one of our best defensive players that we created a lot of our defensive strategies around, and Olivia Pizzari for 4 years was just a do-it-all type player that we're going to have to work to try to fill in those holes. But we feel good. We got Desiree Thomas back from an ACL injury who didn't play last year, who's going to be able to step up and fill some of that. And we feel like maybe teams concentrated so much on Emily last year. We were pretty easy to game plan for. It was pretty much don't let Holmes get shots, and that was the game plan. Right. This year we feel like we're going to be a little bit more balanced in what we're doing, which I think will make it a little bit more difficult to game plan for us, since we're going to be scoring from a lot of different areas this year. So we're going to have to find some players to fill some gaps, but we feel pretty good about what we got to do it with.
The one area you guys played so well at last year for sure was on the defensive end. You kept your opponents in the low points of the end of the scoring category, allowed just 44 points per game on the season. I think a lot of coaches would be happy with that. How do you guys replicate that or even continue to build on that in this coming season?
Well, that's our focus, as it has been since I started doing this. We know that we're not going to go out there and outscore a lot of people. We're going to have to be a good defensive team, and we focus a lot defensively, and we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to focus defensively, build defensively, try to put some people in positions with athleticism to look to even improve. I think we'll be a faster team this year, so I think we'll be able to get after it a little bit more with pressure and do a little bit more man defensive stuff. We've primarily been a zone defensive team, but our girls have bought in. They get a lot of credit for it because it's hard for high school girls sometimes to buy into defense. Sure. But our girls have, and they take a little bit of pride in it. And we enjoy it. We like playing defense, and that's a good thing. When you get a group of girls or players in general that really like playing defense, it makes your job as a coach a lot easier.
That's so. A lot of people don't really enjoy that side of the ball. They want to. People want to
score. Everybody wants to score, and we try to. And most of our points, or a lot of our points, come in transition, off of steals, off of forcing bad shots and getting long rebounds and going. And so it does lead to offense, and they're starting to realize that. Yep. And Lindsay Looper, comes to mind the most. She scores most of her points in transition off of steals, and we're trying to preach that the harder you play defense, the easier your shots are going to get offensively, and they buy into it, and we're working on it. So we're going to continue to push.
With all the girls you do bring back, you mentioned Lindsay Looper. Does it change how you approach this season? Because you had a pure scorer in Emily Holmes coming back. That previous year. This year you don't have her. You got more balanced attack. That kind of changed the way you approach this season.
A little bit. Obviously from a strategy point of view, we're going to have to do things different. We're not going to rely on somebody to possibly make 6-7 threes, in a row in a game. even though we've got some more pretty good shooters coming, I feel like. We're going to work to be more balanced. We're going to work to be more consistent in what we're doing and not rely on somebody getting hot to create our points. We're going to try to be able to create our own points through what we're doing execution-wise. So we're going to be focused a little more on execution. We're going to be focused a little bit more on up-tempo, getting some easy baskets, getting some easy layups in transition to take a little bit of pressure off our offense. But I think we'll look a lot different on the offensive end probably than we've looked in the past 2 or 3 years, because we're not going to have 4 girls looking to see what Holmes is going to do with the ball. We're going to have 5 girls trying to create shots for themselves and each other.
All right, Coach, wish you all the best of luck on the upcoming season. Another tough one here in Region 1 as always. Coach Bradley Naney and the Lady Cardinals of Mayfield.
For the best service and parts support for your equipment, rely on H&R AgriPower, your premier Case IH dealer. H&R AgriPower has over 45 trained service technicians, and our mobile service trucks will come to your farm. Plus, H&R AgriPower's huge parts inventory and daily parts delivery between our locations means you get the parts you need fast. For service and parts support, turn to your local Case IH dealer. H&R AgriPower, the power to get you more.
Hello, folks. Here with Coach Chris Guy of the Mayfield Cardinals. Coach, thanks for coming on with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You guys had an excellent season. There's no doubt that last year, 26 wins, only 2 losses in the region, none in regular season play. Your only losses were in the district championship game and in the regional tournament. Overall, you guys had about as good a season as you could hope for, I would think, just short of that regional championship.
Yeah, we were a little disappointed. You know, we knew we were having a good season, and you know, as a coach, you just got to keep pushing these guys and trying to get them to realize the opportunities we had ahead of us, and we had some good opportunities, and that's what I keep telling these guys is they've got as much opportunity as any Mayfield Cardinals ever put on that uniform. We got a great team coming back. We had a good season last year. Like you said, we come up a little short. We thought we was good enough to get to Rupp Arena, and that's definitely going to be our goal this year.
A lot of guys had you picked as one of those teams that could make a deep run and into state if had you guys gotten there, and really you really probably had 3 bad games all year, and just happened to be the 3 times you couldn't have them. Your game at All A, the district championship game, and you guys kind of fell apart offensively in that game against McCracken. Do you see anything in particular that happened in those games besides just having a bad shooting night?
I think that sums it up. A bad shooting night. You know, it was a long season, but it was a long season for McCracken County and Graves County too, and we just had a little trouble putting the ball in the basket. You know, I've looked back at it. I don't know if there's anything I would change. You know, just hopefully shoot the ball a little bit better next time.
Yeah, had those bad shooting nights come in a regular season game against whoever, it might completely change how your season ended.
Yeah, no doubt.
You lost a fantastic player in Jordan Harrison. Actually, you look at the box score a lot. You see, okay, yeah, maybe you didn't have average a whole lot of points, but it seemed like if you guys needed a big shot, he was like, "I'll take the ball. I will get you a mid-range bucket. I will get you a floater. I will get what you need me to get you, coach." That's
what you want from a senior. You know, and Jordan was that way. Had made some big plays in football last year too. I think he grew up a whole lot for us as the season went along, and we're going to miss him. You know, Jordan was had great character, a great leader for us, and we're going to miss him. But I have a feeling we got a couple of players that'll step it up.
You bring back 4 quality players and seniors this year that either started or played significant minutes for you last year. Not a lot of coaches get to bring back so much experience like you guys have, and you were already picked as a top team last year. I think most people are going to you got the favorite to win the region this year. Definitely on the short list, there's no question. How do you balance those high expectations of keeping your team focused this year?
We'll come in and have a couple of days of practice. We'll kick it off with Paducah Tillman right off the bat, and you know, I've got the schedule set up that probably as tough a schedule as that certainly as I've ever had as a head coach. And you know, we got a lot of expectations. You know, we got, like as you said, we got a lot of players coming back with a lot of experience. You know, Carson Guthrie has been a 5-year starter for us. You know, he scored over 1,000 points. He's up close to 700 rebounds. You know, just having a great career here. His brother Connor, you know, he's already reached 1,000 points. Those 2 guys are going to lead us most nights. I don't think there's any doubt that most nights they're going to lead us in scoring and rebounding. And you know, I'm looking forward to coaching those guys another year. I've said it before. I'm sure glad they're on my team and not on somebody else's team. You know, and you told Deshaun Jones really matured for us a lot last year, and a lot of games last year he was maybe our best player and best overall overall player. I look for him to have a great year for us. He's worked hard in the weight room. He's gotten a lot stronger. Of course, he's a great three-point shooter, great ball, very quick. He's quick, athletic. I look for him to have a great year for us. And the fourth one you mentioned was Trey Matthews. Trey's having a heck of a year in football, and I look for him to step right in there and be a powerhouse for us in basketball. He's so athletic and so strong, and those four guys are going to be the leaders for us most nights. We got some other kids too. We've had a kid move in from McCracken County, Aiden Wilson. I'm looking for him to give us some good minutes. Trayvon Gray and Willie Adams are both in the gym with us now. I think I've got 4 of those guys in the gym now of what I'm considering my top 10. I think we're going to go about 12 deep this year, to be honest with you. We've got 9 seniors, and any of them I think can give us quality minutes. And then we've got 3 great juniors. Brady Smith, I'm not sure what's going to happen with Brady's a senior. Not sure what's going to happen with Brady. I think he's had a little injury. We'll see what happens. But he can come in and give us some quality minutes too. The juniors I was talking about, you got Cade Neely, you got Alonzo Daniel, you got Tony Parrott. I've told those 3 guys they would start for just about any team I've ever had here at Mayfield, right. but they're having to sit back and come off.
The deepest team you ever had.
Yeah, no doubt. And they're having to wait another year before they will be the guys, and I think they understand that. At least I hope they do. And I'm gonna talk to them more about that. But as you said, we got a great year ahead of us. We hope. We came up a little short in the All-A last year. Our goal is to win that regional tournament again. I don't think there's any doubt we're going to be the favorite. It won't be easy. I guarantee you Murray High is going to have a good ball club, and they'll be in the hunt for it. What we want to do is win that regional and get back to Richmond and make a run at that state championship. We feel like we got a good enough team that we can win it all. And I know a couple of seniors have mentioned it to me. That's what they want. Yeah. They want to win that one. Then they want to get to Rupp Arena.
Right. Get both of them. Why not, right?
That's right. And that's our goal this year.
Sure. You mentioned the other name I really wanted to get to. I don't think I've seen a player that has grown at the rate he has grown in 2 different sports the way I've seen Cade Neely grow in both football and basketball from the start of last football season and the start of last basketball season, getting some playing time, making some plays here or there, to where at the end of football season, you've got to deal with him. In basketball season, he was an athlete who started to develop some more skills, and then this year as a junior, he is a terror on the football field. So I can only imagine what it's going to be like to see him continue to get better on the basketball court. As a junior, he's got another full year ahead of him.
Yeah. I want to mention one more kid too before I talk about Cade. Houston Lancaster.
Yeah.
Got to brag on him. Had a great career in golf, and I think the golf's going to be his opportunity.
He's got a family full of golfers.
Yeah. Yes, and he's going to have the opportunity, I think, to move on and play some college golf. But as far as a coach on the floor, a leader on the floor for us, he does as good a job as anybody. Great 3-point shooter. Yep. I look for him to have a great year for us too. Cade, like you said, this seems like. A couple months ago, Cade was sitting in my health class, and he was about 5'8" and weighed about 120 pounds. And all of a sudden, this kid has just blossomed into an extraordinary athlete. He's about 6'3" now and jumps really well. He was in the gym here the other day and just tomahawk dunked it. He's a great leaper and gotten a lot stronger. You can tell he's worked a lot in the weight room, not just here at school. I think he probably does a lot of that at home too.
Sure.
I heard Coach Hatchell say the other day that he thought he might be the toughest kid on the football team to tackle.
I can see that.
Yeah, if one guy gets one hand on him, he's not coming down. It's taking 2 hands, and a lot of times 2 or 3 players to bring him down. And he's developed a lot of great moves, and I look for the same thing in basketball. I look for him to have a great year for us in basketball. He likes to get in there and mix it up. And works extremely hard. And I look for Cade, I look for Alonzo to come back and have another great year as a junior for us. Another athletic player, a lot like Jones, very quick, athletic. Look for him to have a good junior. And then Tony Parrott, I mentioned Tony Parrott. He kind of came along as the season went along last year, had a great JV season. I look for him to be a guy that we can throw in there too.
Well, Coach, we want to wish you the absolute best of luck, especially announced it being your last year. And I know I'm going to miss working with you. A lot of the coaches are going to miss coaching against you, whether they enjoy doing it as far as that goes. But they know they respect you a lot. Everybody expects you doing things the right way here this year.
We appreciate what you guys do for us. You give us a lot of time out there on TV. I talk to a lot of people. Sometimes it's the older people that can't get out when the weather's bad. And I have a lot of people mention that they watch us play on y'all's network. And just want to thank y'all for what you do for us and expose exposing these kids, and means a lot to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. I wish them best of luck on this upcoming season. Coach Chris Guy and the Mayfield Cardinals.
Thank you, guys.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
Creating comfort one home at a time. Call the folks at James Smith Heating and Cooling for all of your heating and cooling needs.
Hello, folks. I'm here with Coach Valerie Waller of the Callaway County Lady Lakers. Coach, thanks for coming on with us.
Thanks for having me.
You guys had an interesting season last year, 22-11, 16-8 in the region play. You got that 20-win mark, which I know is definitely a goal for every coach every year. You guys lost a couple of really close games, the only team with multiple losses of 2 points or less in the region on the girls' side. So just a couple of plays, you guys could have even had a better season. You guys were super young last year, has a chance for some growth. So what are some of your overall thoughts on the season?
As far as last season, those three losses that you're talking about, I really think that losing those games probably helped us grow as much as anything, to be honest, to get us back into the regional tournament for the first time in a long time. And we also had Ellie Carson as our point guard, who was a freshman, and Keely Puckett, who has always run the point for us ever since she's been able to walk, to be honest. And we asked her to convert over to play a little more of a two-guard. And making some of those switches, I think it took a little while for our kids to understand the roles and get confident in their roles. And I felt like we peaked at the right time as that season went on. And hopefully this year, one thing that's going to be a big difference is our schedule. And I think we may see even a lot more closer games than we did last year. And hopefully last year's season will help prepare us for those games this year.
You guys had 2 seniors on the roster last year, but by far the highest concentration of middle school girls playing up, because you needed the depth for bringing girls off the bench and whatnot. So you guys have a chance to grow even more, I think, this year. Do you see that being the case?
I do see that being the case. I mean, Ellie, as I said, was a freshman last year. She's a sophomore, but she's still, I think, growing into her position and confidence playing at that varsity level. Addison Hicks is a freshman. She played for us quite a bit last year as an 8th grader. And we expect her to give us some quality minutes. Last year we just used her to try to give some players some rest, but man, she's a fireball. She'll get in there and really get after it, and I really think she could be a difference maker for us this year as a freshman. And then we have a couple of juniors in Ellie Jackson and Kelly Underhill that they would kind of play that same role as Addison did last year, because that's where we needed them. But this year they're going to have to pick it up and be able to carry a little bit of that load for us. So yeah, I definitely think that we are still young. We still have 2 seniors this year is what we carry in, and both of them being guards, though. I think that's the hard punch for us as far as looking in the future, losing 2 guards at the end of the season.
We got to get to the big topic. Obviously, when you discuss your team, a lot of the big players in the region last year are gone. You get to keep the one player that everybody listed as one of those top players in the region last year. Daniel Wagner from Graves is gone. The big 3 from Murray is gone. Leah Shelley at Ballard's gone. The only one remaining is yours, and Charlie Settle. She's an absolute force. It's not often you see a girl of her size who's as skilled as she is comfortable handling the ball under pressure, doing absolutely everything at her size. What is her true ceiling? Or does she have one, for that matter?
That's a good question. She's 6'2", and she's a legit 6'2".
She looks at me right in the eye, and I'm standing at 6'2".
Yeah, she's a legit 6'2". She's put on a little more muscle this summer. She's worked on her outside game even more. It's just so hard to defend her as far as away from the basket or under the basket. And we're very thankful that she is just a junior. As far as that ceiling goes, I mean, really, that's up to her. Sure. I mean, to be honest with you. I know this year she's got into her heart that she's going to be a little more of a defensive player. That hasn't been something that she's really stellared a lot at as far as that goes. But I mean, she averaged 25 points a game last year and 13 rebounds, and was in the top 12 in the state in both of those. So she's going to have to carry that same weight for us this year, and we're going to have some other kids step up to help her.
Sure, because she kind of carries that load for the length of a long season. You risk wearing her out and things like that as well.
That, and I think our schedule is going to also pull a toll on her as far as that goes. You know, other kids are going to have to be able to step up and carry part of that load for her to get her shots. They're going to have, you know, it's no different last year in the district tournament. Ellie Carson stepped up and had 24 points, and Charlie still, you know, had her points as well. But when we have other players that step up, it allows Charlie it makes things a little bit easier for her, to be honest, to not have to carry all that weight.
As a coach, how do you focus that balance when trying to convince Charlie to stay aggressive, get hers because she can, but also keeping all the other girls engaged, saying, hey, you're just as much a part of this offense as part of this team as she is?
You know, I think Charlie's biggest strength is scoring in transition, to be honest. You wouldn't really think about that as a 6'2", but she leads us in rebounds with 13 rebounds. She leads our break almost 95% of the time. And so a lot of her points come out of transition. So one of the things that we really focus on in practice is her being able to get open and us as a team getting shots out of our offense, and her being able to move without the basketball. And as I said before, I think it's really going to be important for our other guards to get involved in the offense and to be able to score. Ellie Carson, I think, averaged 8.8 last year, and Keely Puckett averaged almost 10 a game. And they're going to have to up that a little bit this year. One, because of the competition they're going against, but two, for Charlie to be able to do what she needs to do, they're also going to have to pick up their game.
Sure. Last one, Coach, and we'll get you out of here. You guys always play in the toughest district, at least for the longest time I can remember. It's been the toughest district on the girls' side. You got some uncertainty, like I said, with your youth growing there, the turnover that Murray has had, and a new coach at Marshall's. A lot of interesting stories to be happening in your district this year.
You know, I think that's 2 years in a row, to be honest, because last year we had 2 new coaches in our district. Coach Faust was new, and Coach Clapp was new last year. So this year, Murray lost, you know, as far as they graduated, there are 3 Stellars and then a new coach at Marshall County. So I kind of feel like it's a repeat for us as far as everything being new again. But I really think the whole district and the whole region, for that matter is pretty wide open as far as that goes. There's a lot of unknowns. And so one thing that we've really talked to our kids about is I feel like we're going to have a pretty big target on our back this year, because we do return. We're the one team in the region that returns most of our players. So, you know, one of our big focuses going into this is people are going to be coming after us, and we got to be ready. We don't really know what everybody else is going to have in the beginning, but by the end of the year, we'll all be on the same wavelength as far as that goes.
All right, Coach, wish you the best luck on upcoming season. Coach Waller and the Lady Lakers of Callaway County.
For every kind of family, there's First Kentucky Bank, partnering with you and your family for life.
Hello again, folks. Here with Coach Brad Cleaver, the Callaway County Lakers. Coach, thanks for coming on with us.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah. Coach, look at your season last year, 11-17, 6-11 in region play. Give us some of your thoughts overall on last season.
It was an exciting season, you know, obviously to be back home and, you know, my first season, you know, back here at Callaway. So, you know, there was a lot of good opportunities that we had last year. We, you know, didn't capitalize on all the opportunities that we have, but, you know, I'm here at Callaway and I'm here to, you know, build the program to where I think it needs to be. And so, you know, we've worked on putting those things in place. You know, part of that, not only with the season last year, but, you know, our Little League program that we've got going right now it's just phenomenal. And of course, obviously, it's the feeder system that's going to build into your program. So we've got a you know, phenomenal Little League program established that rivals any program in the country from a Little League standpoint, and that's grown by a lot this year, and we anticipate it to continue to grow. So yeah, all in all, it was a good start to the first year.
You guys see the record, but people may have concerns like, well, there's more than, you got to go deeper into that to find the story. And you guys had several close games that were 2 or 3 bounces here, 2 or 3 plays from maybe flipping your record altogether. You're the only team in the region with multiple overtime losses, and yet obviously those are 1 or 2 plays and turn it right back around. Did you see, maybe just in those tight spaces, your team kind of just not make the right play or kind of thing, or is it just plays like that happen?
Well, we put ourselves in a chance to win the ball game, and that's last year coming in, that's what you want as a coach is to give your team an opportunity to win the ball game. We had Mayfield down there. It's I had a pretty nice lead on those guys, and then we blew that lead, and I tell our team, and I take the losses and give the wins to our team. So that's on me. Ultimately, they ended up scoring more points than we did, and you lose the game when that happens. So, but no, we put ourselves in a chance to win a lot of ball games, and we proved that we could play some really good defense last year with some of our defensive schemes, and held several teams to their lowest point total of the year. So we did some positive things defensively last year.
Yeah. On the offensive side, you guys seemed like it was one extreme or the other last year. You guys would go out and put 80 points up on somebody, and then 3 nights later struggle to break 40. What was the struggle with consistency there? Was it just having some inconsistent shooting nights with different players? Were you guys reliant too much on perimeter shooting? On individual player basis. What's the way we're looking to maybe improve that coming in this year? The consistency anyway.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So sometimes the rim is bigger on some nights than it is the other nights. So I think we were playing on smaller rims was the real problem. But no, it was definitely an up and down offensively for us, and a lot of that has to do with the scouting that we have in this region. The coaching and the scouting here, I would say, is second to none, and even in our district, but throughout the region, it's you're scouted very well. So teams know who to take away, and you look at the nights that we really put up a lot of numbers. Most of the time that was on teams that may have been outside of our region even, and so that has a lot to do with it. And that's something to say very positive about the coaches that are in this region.
Mm-hmm. Most of the coaches in this region, the majority of them are not new to the region. Coach Frick, is a newer head coach, but he's been involved in Graves County sports for a long time. He played there. Coach O'Neill's been at Carlisle for a long time. Coach Guy's been at Mayfield for a long time. This is his last season. So these guys know the region very well, know a lot of these players, see them younger, and are very, very versed as to what's going on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I saw Coach Frick and he said, "Yeah, I saw what you had for breakfast this morning." I'm like, "Wow, you guys are really, scouting." So no, but no, it's a testament to the coaches in this region. You're exactly right. Likewise with us, we do our homework on the other teams, and it was put us in a chance to win a lot of ball games last year. I mean, we were close in a lot of ball games, so our record could have been 500 very easily, or a little bit better than that. Like you mentioned earlier, we lost several tight ones.
Yeah. Last one, we'll get you out of here on this one, Coach. You guys lost 6 seniors off the roster, including your leading scorer. It's going to be a lot to develop, a lot to grow, so almost has some potential for some unknown. There could be really great, could be some challenges with that. So how do you see the season, the off season growing into this season?
Well, we want our kids to only look at challenges as opportunities, and that's what we want to teach them as not only players, but as we're developing young men. Is here's an opportunity for you to step up and make a name for yourself, make a name for us as a team. This is not an individual sport. This is a team game, and so as long as we can adopt that mentality as a family and what we're trying to build here as a program, this goes, like I mentioned earlier, from the ground up. We've really invested in our youth programs. Our middle school program right now is off to a phenomenal start, and we were seeing the buy-in in practice from some of these young kids. We may have one of the youngest teams that you see on the floor this year, but no, it's a great opportunity for us to continue to develop, and we're looking forward to it.
Coach, we thank you for your time. Wish you the best of luck on your upcoming season. Coach Cleaver and the Callaway County Lakers. I want to thank all the coaches again for taking the time to talk to us about this upcoming season here in Region 1 basketball. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter and other social media to let you know where we're going to be. We're looking forward to a great season here in Region 1 as always. Wish all the coaches and players the best of luck. Make sure you stay tuned for Region 1 basketball on WK&T Sports.
Your family's safety is priceless. In an emergency, you need help at the push of a button. Secure Connect from WK&T provides this and more. Monitoring is less than $1 a day, and consultations are free. We love helping our friends and neighbors protect what matters most. That's the WK&T way.
For the best service and parts support for your equipment, rely on H&R AgriPower, your premier Case IH dealer. H&R AgriPower has over 45 trained service technicians, and our mobile service trucks will come to your farm. Plus, H&R AgriPower's huge parts inventory and daily parts delivery between our locations means you get the parts you need fast. For service and parts support, turn to your local Case IH dealer. H&R AgriPower, the power to get you more.
Did you know that my mom's a superhero? Really? Yeah, when a tornado hits, they call my mom to come help. She races to the scene with her team, and they use their powers to help everyone get their things fixed. Whoa!
Everything okay with your friend back there?
Yeah, he's just never seen a superhero before.
Ask Shelter Agent Steve Jones about Shelter's competitive insurance rates.